guys! Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly and I am documenting my Inktober journey. If you don't know what Inktober is, it is a daily drawing challenge where you draw a drawing in ink every day for the month of October. In this video, you will be seeing the artwork from days 14 through 20, and while the art is playing in the background, I thought we could discuss spooky movies and the spooky books that I have been reading. But before we dive into the spooky content, I just kind of wanted to update you on where I've been. So for a week and a half, my computer has been broken. It's probably been almost 2 weeks now. I tried to get it to work and it just wouldn't. It's basically a battery problem to where my battery in my laptop was not holding a charge. And I ordered a new one. It arrived this morning. And of course, my old computer decided to magically work and be at 100% battery life this morning. And since I had all my graphics and stuff on this computer, I figured I would just try to go ahead and edit and upload the video on this computer just for the ease of use, because with the new one, like I said in a previous video, I'm really trying to kind of up the video content here, and I did finally upgrade my video editing software. I upgraded to Final Cut Pro and had that installed on my new laptop when I ordered it from Apple. So for ease of use, I'm really glad this one decided to turn on today so I could use the tools that I was familiar with. And then once Inktober's over, hopefully I will get the hang of Final Cut Pro and be able to upload some really nice cinematic looking content. I'm really excited to learn about color grading and see all the new features that I have in my new editing software. So that's what happened, and that's why I haven't been uploading. I still have been filming. I did update you guys in the community tab, but I see that only like 4 or 5 of you actually got that update and liked it or whatever, whether or not you saw it. So I wasn't sure how many of you actually saw the fact that, hey, my computer was broken. So if you were kind of like, hey man, where have you been? It's because my computer was broken. So thankfully I did continue to film, and I'm now able to upload again, so go team. Okay, so in the month of October this year, I have been able to watch some spooky movies and spooky shows and read some spooky books at night, and it has been so much fun. It has been so long since I've been able to sit down and watch the stuff that I enjoy because I've been so engrossed with Inktober over the past, this is what, year 5, so I haven't really been able to enjoy all the things that I normally enjoy in October. So I'm gonna start with TV shows or series that I watched this month, and mostly, I mean, it's basically a rewatch. I watched The Haunting of Hill House again, and it was just as good as the first time I watched it. I really, really enjoyed that series on Netflix. It was so well done, and it's just honestly a masterpiece, I think. It's so psychological and creepy, and it just has that color grading that just makes you feel like you're in Sleepy Hollow, and it's definitely an autumn show and an October show, and it was just as amazing as it was the first time I watched it. So I am so glad that I rewatched that this month. A new series, well, let's go for another rewatch because I rewatched The Haunting of Bly Manor again. And though it was directed by the same guy that did The Haunting of Hill House, it still had everything I liked about The Haunting of Hill House in it, but I don't feel like it was as scary as The Haunting of Hill House. It was thrilling. It was more of like a thriller than, well, I guess The Haunting of Hill House wasn't really a horror movie or a horror show, but it wasn't as scary as The Haunting of Hill House. It was, however, just as good. I still really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the twists and turns and the creepiness factor of the Bly Manor itself, and I found the little girl to be extremely creepy. And it was good also, but like I feel like if I had to rank them, it would be in this order. So it would be like The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor, and then I watched Midnight Mass. I have no idea if you guys watched this show or not. It's like a 9-10 episode series on Netflix, and it has a lot of... No, it just has the one girl from The Haunting of Hill House. It has Theo in it. I don't remember seeing anybody else from the original show in Midnight Mass, but the cast and crew were great, and it had me probably about until episode 7, and then episode 7 on, it got a little ridiculous. I mean, like, it was still good. It was almost like a car wreck you couldn't look away from, but the whole time you're like, why am I still watching this kind of thing? And it definitely wasn't it definitely wasn't as good as the previous 2 shows that he had directed, but it was all right. I mean, it wasn't bad, but like I still kind of like, at the end of it, I was kind of like, WTF did I just watch? You know what I mean? Like, I kind of thought there would be more of a conclusion to it, and I was a little bit disappointed with the ending, and basically by the fact that they thought that thing was an angel, and I'm kind of like, yeah, definitely not. That's definitely not what that is. So those are the 3 series that I watched. 2 of them are rewatches. Midnight Mass was another one. It wasn't a letdown, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Okay, so let's move on to movies. Now, for the movies, I do kind of have to like put like a disclaimer at the beginning. Like, I'm not a slasher film type of girl. I've seen some of them. I just don't really care for them. I mean, like, they're not awful or anything. I just prefer like the slow burn of something like a Paranormal Activity, to where you're kind of like, oh my god, that's so creepy, what's gonna happen next, blah blah blah, instead of just constant killing. Like, I prefer more of the paranormal type scary movie versus a slasher scary movie. So like, if you are a slasher scary movie person, I'm sorry, we don't have the same flavor of scary movies that we like. So the first one that I finally watched was The Conjuring. And this movie, it was so good up until about the 2/3 part of it, and then it sort of gets a little ridiculous. And I mean, like, overdone movie stunt ridiculous. And then, you know, it's not the movie's fault, though. I feel like I didn't like this one quite as much as I liked the Paranormal Witness episode of the actual family that this movie inspired. So if you watch Paranormal Witness, hi, you're my people, there was an episode of that had the original people go through their experiences of what happened in the house. And I feel like this was more like the episode where the family was actually describing what they went through was more scary than the actual movie. And the reason for that is because I feel like the movie found out like the story behind the house and who was actually haunting it very early in the movie. Whereas in the episode of Paranormal Witness, you didn't get to that until the very end. So it was a very slow burn. This is what happened. This is how it went. Scary story, versus having a theatrical cinematic thing made out of that scary story. And I feel like it was like really overdone. I did enjoy the movie though. I had a good time with it, but I felt like I would have enjoyed the movie more had I watched the movie first and the Paranormal Witness episode second. I do have to say that I feel like they definitely did the characters very well. Like, I feel like they got the casting really well done, and I could see her, the medium lady, I cannot remember her name, I think it was Lorraine, I don't remember, but I could see her looking like that when she was younger. Like, the way they did her hair, like, it was very, very authentic, and I appreciated that. And that takes us into The Conjuring 2. Like I said, I didn't not like The Conjuring. I just felt like I would have enjoyed it more had I watched it in reverse. But, so the second one took place overseas. I believe it was in London. I'm not quite sure. And this one felt like it was a lot scarier than the first one, but I do feel like they, again, did the over dramatic thing at 2/3 in. Like, I feel like it got really, really ridiculous at times. And I mean, I'm not to say that didn't happen. I just feel like they overdid it in the movie as well. Again, I did like the second movie, and I would watch it again. It's just, I felt like they almost kind of ruined it because they made it so theatric at the end and, you know, like, whatever. But I did like at the very, very end in the credits where they had, they compared the real photos and then the casting photos. And I thought that was so well done. And it made me like the movie more, but I felt like I might have liked the movie more had I seen like the end credits first. I don't know if that makes sense. If you've seen it and you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments. Okay, so the next thing I watched, I tried to be brave and watch this by myself. And I have a feeling that was a mistake because I ended up having to turn it off. So everyone was asleep, and normally me and the hubby watch these together, but he was sleeping also, and it was a school night, and I had to get up early to get the kids on the bus and ready for school and everything, but I went on to Amazon Prime and tried to rewatch The Ring. And I think I made it about halfway through. And this is an old movie, so I'm sorry if I'm spoiling anything for you. But so I got to the halfway point to where she makes it to the island or whatever. And like, I feel like I remembered it different when I was young. But I don't know. She's in the house, and then like she, you know, we go through the tape and all the images, and then she's starting to put the puzzle pieces together. And for some reason, I knew what was coming, so I couldn't watch it anymore, and I turned it off. So I'm going to have to retry to watch that. I'm probably going to I'm going to try to rewatch that. Wow, that was a tongue twister, on Halloween. So wish me luck. And there was another movie I watched so far. Oh, it was Winchester on Netflix. And this movie is based off of the real Winchester lady, the real Winchester house, and the mansion and whatever. And this was a case of like, okay, so the movie was not bad. The movie was good, actually. It had some there was a little extra paranormal stuff thrown in compared to the real story. It felt like almost Stephen King directed it and threw paranormal stuff in where it didn't really belong towards the end of it. So it was, if you don't know the story of this, there's also a Paranormal Witness episode for this also, and I feel like this is more accurate and more spooky. So basically, she is the heir, or the last person left of the family that owns the Winchester rifle business. And she goes to see a medium because her daughter dies and her husband dies. And the medium tells her to build this house because ghosts from all the people that the Winchester rifle has killed are haunting her, basically. And this medium advises her to build this house and build it like a puzzle, to where like there's stairs that lead to nowhere and doors that open and you fall out on down 2 stories and things like that. So the house is really, really weird, and it's like a gigantic puzzle. And the movie is based off of that story. Now, like I said, the movie was good, but they did put like a paranormal spin on it, and I did like what they did, but I also felt like they kind of ruined it. And it's not that the movie was bad, like I said, it's just once you know the real story of something and how things came to be in real life, it's like over dramatized in the movie. So I felt like it was a little, like there was a twist that I wasn't expecting, which was great, but it was a little bit of a letdown because I feel like the original story was the better story. But anyway, so those are the movies that I watched. Let's move on to books. Okay, so book-wise, this one I thought was going to be spooky, but it wasn't. It was actually more of a romance, but it's called A Touch of Darkness, and it's basically a Hades and Persephone retelling. So it, you know, like, I mean, it has like the underworld elements and Greek mythology, so it was really interesting, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for this month. I did read it, and I did really like it. I'll probably read book 2, but like I thought it was going to be a little bit more spooky than it was. And I'm kind of sad that I have to wait. Like, I was hoping the second year of the Witching book would be out by now, but that's not coming out until December, so I had to find something to fill it with. And that's what I chose. So I chose A Touch of Darkness. It was good. Greek mythology retelling, Hades and Persephone. It was perfectly fine, and I plan on reading book 2. But the second book that I read this month was called Horrid. And this is by Katrina Leno. Okay, so I really don't know how to describe this book. I feel like the best way I can describe it is maybe like Gilmore Girls meets Stephen King, and it takes place in Sleepy Hollow kind of thing. It was so, like, I couldn't stop reading it, but I was like confused the whole time. Like, there's like the mother-daughter combination, there's a loss in the family, they inherit this house that was her mother's, and it's like this gigantic creepy house in the neighborhood that everybody's afraid of. You know, she goes to school, she gets bullied, and like there's a lot of creepy stuff happening in this house, and it's it was so enthralling that I was kind of like, oh my god, what's gonna happen now, and why is she pretending that that didn't happen kind of situation. There's a little bit of a trigger for like pica or pica, however you want to word that, where you eat things that aren't non-food kind of compulsions. So that was a little weird for me, but I'm not spoiling anything because it's basically the first sentence of the book. But the ending of this book had me so like, what? Like, really? We're just gonna end it here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was not a bad ending, but I'm just kind of like still thinking about it days later, like, what? But like, I kind of need to know like what happens with the other characters, you know, like what happened to her friends, like what happens at the end result of this, like does anybody ask about this situation? Like, I wanted more, and I felt like I was left hanging by a thread, but it was still really good, and I couldn't put it down. But it's like, it's very hard to describe. But it was very good. It was worth the read. It's not too gory or anything, but it's very thrilling, and I really enjoyed it. I'm actually really surprised that I enjoyed it because I was kind of like, what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was kind of like how I felt at the end of Midnight Mass was how I felt at the end of this book. But again, it was really good, and I planned on reading her other books just for reference. And also, I bought the the paperback version of The Shining. I have never read it. I have never seen the movie as an adult, so I have no idea what I'm in for. I'm a little intimidated to pick it up, so I started reading another book instead. So I'm hoping to start The Shining on Halloween. I have no idea if I'll like it or not. I heard it was good. Stephen King is iffy for me, though. I tried to listen to Pet Sematary on Audible, narrated by Michael C. Hall, who is, Dexter, if you don't know who that is. And it was really nice and really soothing, but I couldn't get through it, and it wasn't one of those books where I was like, I need to know what happens next. It was, I feel like Stephen King, either you love him or you hate him, or you're kind of just confused. And I feel like I'm in the confused area, to where I feel like he's very descriptive in places that don't really need to be descriptive. I feel like a whole chapter on a description of a room or a feeling is a little bit much. But this is only my second King, so I'm not going to judge it. I've heard this is one of his best books, so I'm really hoping I'm going to like it, and I'm really hoping I'm going to like the movie as well, because I don't know if I should watch the movie and then read the book, because I feel like it would just be better results that way. I'm not too sure, so if you have any advice on that, let me know in the comments. Which brings me to the question of the day. Let me know what you're watching, reading, and listening to this month in the comment section. I would love more recommendations for spooky type genre if you have them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Inktober video.